die again. Or actually, in the words of Obi-Wan Kenobi from episode 2 of Star Wars. Hello there. I know, I'm a total geek. I love Star Wars, what can I say? I always have loved Star Wars too, actually. Maybe you do too, and that's why we understand each other. Well, I hope that you are having a wonderful day. But if you're here because you're not, I feel you. Creating your own happiness is a thing I think a lot of spiritual teachers keep behind a paywall. And also, I think a lot of people who teach the practice of how to create your own happiness keep it behind a paywall, like for therapy, or you have to take a class, or you need a training, something. But seriously, this is a thing everybody deserves to know how to do. And so we're going to talk about it today because I really feel like you deserve to be happy. I deserve to be happy. Everybody deserves happiness. But let's get something straight about what happiness actually is. I'm not trying to sell happiness as a constant thing that's going to be like every minute of your day, all day long, every day of your life. That isn't happiness, not really. I think that is more along the lines of what we're sold as the fairy tale that life could be for us if we just do things a certain way. If we just follow a certain prescription, we're gonna be happy and everything's gonna be amazing, and all the terrible things that have always happened to me in my life that have been plaguing me for so long, they're just gonna disappear. No. That's not real, okay? That is not how that works. And anybody selling that to you, please use caution. Please use your discernment. Discernment's an important quality, I think, in our day and age, especially when we have so many things being created by computers, by programs, and also by people who want to be, greedy. They just want to sell things, and they don't really care how it affects people. Be discerning. Even with me, don't listen to every single thing I say and just take it as truth. Like, please do research. Listen to other people. Go find everybody who talks about this and listen to what they have to say, and then let the chips fall where they may inside of you and see how they feel. Okay? Please do that. Because, I'm just one person here, and I'm operating from one set of experiences that are true for me, but maybe only partially resonate with you. Totally good. Like, we're good here if that's the way you feel, because that's normal, okay? This is how life works. Some pieces of people's life will resonate with you and others will not, and that's okay. We're allowed to be individuals here. Yes, individuals are a good thing. That's what makes the world go round. It makes it interesting. But back to happiness. Happiness is definitely a thing that is coming from within. But that's not what we're taught. We're sold a certain line of thinking that if you just do certain things, if you achieve a certain status, if you live in a certain neighborhood or in a certain place in the world, if you have certain things in your life, if you have a lot of money, if you have a beautiful home, if, right? If you have the perfect family, or you're a traveler, or whatever it is, like, we're sold a certain thing about how we should look, what things should be happening for us, and that's what creates happiness for you, right? If I could just have X amount of money, I would be happy. If I could have that certain house, I would be happy. If I had that car, I'd be happy. If I had that certain person in my life, I would be happy. If I had that certain job, I would be happy. This is the thing that we constantly hear, that you're being sold constantly about how life looks. If you do things a certain way, you're going to be happy. But when people get to be successful and they make millions of dollars and they're famous and they have all the things in life that they thought they always wanted, a lot of those people will say, actually, that's not really what happens. You get all that stuff and then you're not happy. Jim Carrey, the actor, famous comedian, if you don't know who he is, go look him up. He's a spiritual guy now. He's made crazy movies that I've loved over the years, but the dude shares that really happiness doesn't happen to you that way, because he made his millions. He still wasn't happy from that. It wasn't fulfilling. He didn't feel that way. So that's not how happiness works. It's not if when. It comes from inside of you. It comes from within. It is a specific set of circumstances that you create for yourself. It doesn't come from out there. It comes from you and the way you think and feel about what's happening around you. It's your reaction to the circumstances that are surrounding you. That's what creates your happiness. So, and speaking from experience of a person who lived in deep unhappiness and depression for a long time, most of my life was that way, I can tell you, I know how it feels to be desperate, to be very unhappy, to be deeply depressed, and to not want to be here anymore. I know how that feels, but that isn't how you have to live. So before I explain how we get to this space mentally of where we create our own happiness, I want to explain something that will help understand how you are interacting with your environment, probably in an unconscious way. Maybe not. Maybe you're conscious about everything and you know this already. Amazing. Good for you. This is an unusual thing that I'm going to share with you that a lot of people maybe don't realize. So we're going to get a little sciencey for a second. So if you understand that you actually are, your brain is always taking in your environment and it's choosing what to reveal to you in your conscious awareness. Because our environment is full of sensory stimuli, and it's too much for your brain to take in all at one time. I mean, with the 6 senses that we have, see what I did there? You have a lot of information coming in, okay? Because it's not just the 5 senses, it's also the extrasensory that you're aware of too, and you're also taking that in. All around you in your environment, energy is interacting, and you're aware of it on an unconscious level for the most part. So what you're doing is you're taking in this information through a tiny, tiny little piece of your brain called the reticular activating system. It's kind of in the middle of your brain. It's just kind of teeny. It's like the size of a pencil eraser. It's tiny. This little teeny piece of your brain is acting sort of like radar. It kind of, or sonar. It just kind of constantly is taking in your environment and it's noticing things. But it's programmed to notice what you believe. And this includes unconscious belief. And I know, if you've watched anything around The Secret or learning how to manifest, I know. Unconscious beliefs are what block you, blah, blah, blah. Let's get there in a minute. But let's just say your beliefs are what program your reticular activating system, and that's what decides what you notice. Okay, that's important for you to think about, because if you're consistently messaging yourself about the beliefs that you have about things around you, for instance, if you think people are mean and they're going to cheat you and they're not trustworthy, those are the kinds of things you say to yourself about people in general, then when you go out into your environment, that is what your reticular activating system is going to notice. It's going to notice when the people around you are untrustworthy, when they act rude, when they're mean, when they're not kind. All of those things are going to be what you take in, even if there is also in your environment the opposite. Let's take one of my favorite analogies. I love the analogy of the coffee shop to teach this lesson. So when you walk into a coffee shop, let's say your reticular activating system is what we just talked about. You expect people to be untrustworthy, to be rude, to be whatever, take advantage. That's your expectation. Negative. You expect to have negative experiences with people because that's what your reticular activating system believes is true. And this isn't necessarily your fault. It's probably because of things that happened to you, things you've experienced around what people have done when you were younger or to continue through your adulthood. Like, this is just what you've learned and this is your experience. So there's nothing wrong with that. It just is. So you have this expectation, negative, when you walk in, when maybe you go in and you look at the menu and you automatically say to yourself, oh, they don't have my favorite coffee. This place sucks. Oh, look at that. They don't have the kind of milk I like. That's a second strike against this place. Don't like it. And then you go to the counter and you're asking questions about the menu and saying, why don't you have this kind of milk? Why don't you have my favorite coffee order? Can you make that? And they'll say, well, I don't actually know how, or they might be trying to accommodate, but then, because of the way you're asking, maybe they're getting a little obnoxious with you, or they, getting short with you back because you're bringing that energy. And then, they go to make your order and the person who's interacted with you at the bar was maybe not super happy with you. And then they're kind of making your coffee in a way that they're feeling that kind of annoyance. And that annoyance is what they put into the cup, and then they give it to you, and maybe your order is wrong. Maybe they shortchanged you. Maybe they whatever. Then you go to sit down, and your seat's covered in crumbs. Of course it is, because those people don't care if they keep this place clean. They don't really do their jobs, And then some person who, you're sitting by yourself, expecting to enjoy reading the paper or whatever, and then suddenly some person sits down and they're on a loud conversation on the phone next to you and seem to not notice or care if you're doing that. You're trying to have a quiet moment. Do you see what I'm saying? So all of these negative experiences are going to happen around what you notice in your environment, and then your experience with that coffee shop is going to be negative because it didn't agree with what you wanted. Or actually it did. It agreed with what you expected. It wasn't maybe what you wanted, but it was what you expected. And then it fulfilled those expectations, because that's what the universe is going to do for you, by the way. It's going to fulfill your expectations, whatever they are. So if you expect things to go badly, they will. The universe will give you what you're asking for. On the flip side, if you walk into that same coffee shop and you're expecting to have a good experience and that people are genuinely going to be kind and polite and thoughtful, then that's the experience you can expect to have. You walk in, you're going to notice the menu and you're going to say to yourself, wow, there's a lot of good stuff on there. That sounds yummy. Ooh, look at that. I want to try that one. That sounds really nice. And then you get, you're happy when you interact with that person who's at the register taking your order, and then that person goes to make your coffee and they're happy because they just interacted with a bright, sunshiny person. And you're chit-chatty with them, and you're, you know what I mean? You're bringing a different energy to that interaction. And then when you get your coffee, it's delicious, you're happy with it, you were delighted to give an extra tip, and then They're happy because you just gave an extra tip, and then you sit down and you're enjoying the environment, and then somebody sits down next to you and, they're totally polite and they mind your space and they aren't rude. They're happy to, you know what I'm saying? You're going to have a different experience. Your whole experience with that place will be different, even if they're a negative experience. Like maybe there's a person in there who is being obnoxious, or maybe there is, something that happens to your order and it gets goofed up somehow, but they're really nice to you about it. They give you a second coffee for free, like whatever. You see what I mean? It's your own personal expectation that creates the environment around you. So if you go around expecting things to go wrong, then they will. Because that's what you're going to notice in your environment. And even if that is the same coffee shop experience or the same place with the same people who are working behind the bar, those people could be one after another in line too. You could have the grouchy person and then the nice person right away. Or the nice person and then the grouchy person. Doesn't matter. Your experience will be what you expect. If you expect it to be bad, it will be bad. Most likely. That's what you're looking for in your environment around you. That is what you think will be true. And so your brain is searching your environment to support your expectations, your beliefs about what to think about people, about your environment, about your experiences, about whatever. Okay, does this make sense? So when you think about your expectations of the way things are going to go, it's then necessary to recognize that it's you and your own perception that is creating your reality around you. So this isn't a woo-woo thing, right? This is based in a very scientific, organized fashion. So 3D. Right? In normal life, it's very simple to consider that your reticular activating system is shaping your reality. Therefore, if you want your reality to be different and you want to feel better, then you have to do something about what your brain is searching for around you. Does that make sense? So in other words, you have to start looking in your environment. I'm not telling you that you need to change your perceptions by changing your belief system, because that doesn't necessarily work. Because when you have to go trying to root out what it is that you think is wrong with you, oh my goodness, that's an endless trail of misery. And yes, do you need to do shadow work? Maybe. We can talk about that someday. But really, the basic and most simple way to get to a better feeling place mostly has to do with you deciding to look for better things in your environment around you. You guys, this is so elementary, but also profound, right? I mean, seriously. It boils down to saying to yourself when you first wake up in the morning that you're going to notice good things in your day. And you have to begin there. I have decided that I'm going to start noticing good things happening to me today. I'm going to start paying attention when something goes right for me today. You have to start choosing that. You have to start noticing that. And it really does just begin with noticing and getting curious. And this is one of my favorite things to teach, is that getting curious is so much easier than expecting yourself to suddenly be this bright, shiny beacon of light that doesn't feel bright and shiny inside because you don't know how to get there. It's a basic one step at a time thing. You aren't going to get there today, but you can start feeling better. instantly by doing a few things for yourself. And one of those things is, again, reminding yourself, hey, I'm going to start looking for good things that are happening to me. It might take a little time to get used to looking for those things too, because you're so used to looking for negative in your environment. If you're not feeling happy, that is. Most of us are trained that way. We're used to looking for catastrophe. We're used to like going over those things when we get together. You know, when you're a friend with someone and you sit down and you start moaning about all the ways your life is going sideways, and then you commiserate together and, you know, you kind of wallow in it a little, and then you get the sympathy and you feel better, you think. But no, actually, can it be good to vent? Yes. Is it healthy to do it all the time and that's the focus of your conversation with somebody? No. It's so much better if, you know, you vent, get things off your chest, and move on. And then start noticing what else is going well. What else is working for you? What things are making you feel better in your day? And if it's really hard to see those things, then maybe start with, hey, I have a roof over my head. I'm not exposed to the elements every day. I'm not on the street. That's a place to begin. That's something to be happy for, right? You have a house. There are a lot of people who don't have that right now. And if you do, yay you. Do you have running water? Again, not everybody has that. Yay. Running water is good. Do you have enough money to buy groceries? And if you do, again, yay. A lot of people don't have that. So you've already got a leg up. If you have those things, there's a place to begin. Be grateful for those. If you don't even have those things, you can begin in a different space. Hey, did the sun shine today? Yeah, it did actually. I can be happy about that. I can be glad the sun shined today. Did the sun not shine today? No? Did it rain today? Was there a drought maybe? The rain is good to clean things up, isn't it? And to get things to be healthy again. Because when the rain comes, that's good, right? We need the rain. It's helpful. I don't know. You have to start looking for reasons to be happy about something that's going on in your life or that's happened in your day that went well. You have to start training yourself to notice and look for those things, because that is where you begin to start feeling better. When you notice all the ways, you know, and it begins with one thing that you can start training yourself to notice. Hey, I noticed that XYZ went well for me today. I got to work and I didn't have an accident. Yay! I spent time with my kids and nobody went to the emergency room. I don't know. It could be that, or it could even be my kids didn't fight today. We had a nice day together. We had fun. What is it that you can feel happy about or that went well? Make it simple. Don't look for grandiose gestures like I won the lottery or, suddenly I have this new job that's going to be so amazing. No, don't worry about those big giant things. Those come when you start with the little stuff, because it's the little stuff that always changes your bigger experience in life. It really is these teeny little things that you're willing to notice throughout your day. Somebody smiled at you when they normally would have been grouchy. Cool. That's a win. You made somebody laugh when you were telling a joke today. That's a win. It doesn't matter what the things are. What matters is that you're noticing them and that they are going well. Again, it's the little stuff. Hey, proud of myself. I drank more water today than I have been in a while, and I feel so hydrated. Proud of myself for eating a healthier diet today than I ate yesterday. I don't know. It doesn't have to be a big deal, but you can make it it can be somewhat simple to be able to say to yourself, these are the ways in which I feel good today, and now you're giving yourself space to let go of noticing so much of the trauma, the bad stuff, the negativity. And I'm not saying don't notice that, because obviously when something negative happens, that's an experience that's giving you feedback about your environment, and that's a good thing. We want that. Feedback is good. It's just a thing, again, that you can notice and say, oh, well, that didn't go well. Why is that? What's going on there? And you can ask yourself some deeper questions. Maybe do some journaling or something. But it isn't necessary to beat yourself up about it. Again, even if you're the one creating your own environment, it doesn't mean there's something wrong with you if bad things happen to you. It just means it's an experience, and it's an opportunity to look at something inside of you that might be going a certain way and figuring out what that is, like a puzzle. Just get curious. Getting curious is kind of neutral. It's easier than getting worried. It's easier and better than getting, than going into a spiral of despair, right? Trust me, I've been in plenty of despair spirals. I know how it feels, and I know how hard it is to drag yourself out of it when you are focused on the negative always happening to you. It's only going to change if you're willing to start training your brain to notice different things. And again, it doesn't have to be completely changing your belief system, so please don't worry about that. It's just about one little moment at a time. One day at a time. That's where it's at. And it's super easy. Okay? So here's a trial run that you can take this practice and you can work on it a little. You can look at your day, like, again, journaling would be a great way to try this. You can take your day, at the end of your day, before you go to bed, take a few minutes, 5 minutes or less, sit down and just write everything that you can remember from your day that went well. For like 5 minutes, just write whatever comes into your head. Don't make a list. Just let yourself write, okay? It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be amazing. It doesn't even have to be spectacular. Just whatever comes to mind. The sunshine today, yay! Whatever. It can be anything. I parked perfectly today when I went to the grocery store. Woohoo! Whatever you want to put on there. And just let it be what it is. And then, if you even do this for one day, I want you to ask yourself, how did you feel at the end of that day? And if it felt better, try it tomorrow. And again, ask yourself at the end of the day, how did it feel to do this? Does it feel good? Yes? Do it again. If it keeps making you feel good and you feel better from it, then do it. Keep doing it. Okay? And after 30 days, this becomes a habit. And it becomes easier and easier and easier as the days go by to make a new habit, to get yourself trained out of the indoctrination and the subtle ways that you've been influenced by your environment, by the people around you, by the things you learned at school, by the shows you watch, the books you've read, the media you've taken in. That's all subtly trained you to think a certain way. And if you want to change it, you have to take consistent action to be willing to retrain. It doesn't have to be hard, but it does require that you do take a little action in order to step into a different way to feel. But this is how you create your happiness. It comes from inside of you, noticing your environment and interacting with it in a more positive way. It requires that you notice the good things that are happening for you, and I promise you there are way more good things happening for you than negative, even if you live on the street. Because if you're still alive, you are okay. You are doing well, okay? You're alive. You can turn this around. okay? Most days, you're not going to have mostly negative stuff. Most days, it's going to be mostly things that are going well for you, and you just aren't noticing them because you're so used to noticing the negativity, the bad stuff. Good always outweighs the bad. I promise you that. It really does. And it doesn't take noticing much good to start to feel better and to start feeling differently about the way your life is going. Try this practice and see how it goes for you. This is the beginning of how you create your happiness. And from there, you can start doing more other intentional things to guide your life in a different direction. But I think that's for another day. Let's just begin with noticing the good stuff in your day and see how you feel. All right? No paywalls here. Everybody deserves to feel better. And I think that's part of the key of our world getting to a better place so that we all start feeling more empowered to recognize we aren't dependent on what happens in our environment to feel good. You can feel good no matter what, no matter where, and no matter who you are. You can feel better if you choose that for yourself. Be empowered. Okay? Be empowered. Make these choices for yourself. You deserve to be happy, don't you? Yeah. You do. Okay. So, I'm going to leave you with this practice. So, try maybe doing a little journaling. And if you don't want to journal, you could always use an audio file or a video even. If it's easier for you to do that, do it. However you decide to notice the good in your day at the end of your day before you go to bed, that also entrains your brain when you're sleepy. It's kind of like you doing self-hypnosis. So before you go to bed, you're already getting into a different state of thinking and a deeper state of awareness that affects your brain differently, for sure. If you train your brain before you go to bed, when you wake up in the morning, you're more likely to wake up already thinking about ways that you can notice good in your environment. So I do recommend that highly. And also first thing in the morning, waking up and saying to yourself, I'm going to notice the good in this day. It's a way to help sort of synthesize more readily what you want your brain to do. Okay? Does that help you? I hope so. I really want you to feel better because I think that everyone deserves that and the world will be a better place if we all choose that for ourselves. So be empowered, feel better, and let me know if this works for you. I would love to know how it helps. Okay, you can comment below. I would love it if you'd give me a thumbs up if you liked this video. Maybe subscribe to the channel if you feel up for that. And look out for new videos in the future because I'll be sharing some other practices and methods for feeling good or helping yourself in one way, shape, or form. So let's do this, you guys. Let's make this a thing that we can do for ourselves. Be empowered and grow a brighter future for humanity because I know we can do it together. All right. I'll see you next time. Have a great day.